Good evening. I heard from a brother this evening that some of the, quote, senior co-workers in, quote, the Lord's recovery have been referring to a sister on the internet speaking things or whatever. So I hope to get that direct footage and to respond specifically to whatever's being spoken. But what I would like to say, and I have already committed to not speaking directly to those senior coworkers anymore, because I did so over and over and over again and have just been completely ignored and stonewalled. But what I would like to say is that, and maybe I've said part of this on another video, I'm not sure, but my own husband asked me a few weeks ago, "Who told you you were molested by Philip Lee?" No one needs to tell me what happened to me. And if you want to belittle it, that's not being molested to have a man's fingers on your breast as a 16-year-old in another country, to have the man's fingers pressing on your breasts and fingering around on your breasts. And then for him to stretch that measuring tape around your waist and be fingering around your waist and then around your thighs, around your crotch area. If that isn't molesting, okay, I just don't know quite the word, but it's violating. And I would never let my daughter go through that without making sure that it got dealt with properly. My daughter did go through something with a high school teacher, and she went to the school authorities and he lost his teaching job. And what he did with her was he moved her leg out of the aisle. But he did other things also to some of her friends. And she said, "Mom, an English teacher should know how to use his words and not touch me." The man lost his job for physically moving my daughter's leg out of the aisle. I was fingered on my breasts, my waist, my stomach area, and my hips, supposedly being measured by Philip Lee in 1987. So if any of those senior coworkers to whom I'm no longer speaking, unless they would like to speak with me, they can initiate it. But if any of them are talking about me, why don't they come to me? And why don't they say, "Ruth, we heard that you were wronged by a brother. And that same brother also assaulted other sisters, and we know about that. I can mention their names. At least some of their names. Well, I want to be very accurate. I can mention 2 other sisters' names. They were both married sisters. I was a teenager. This brother had a history of wrongly touching women. They were not his wife. And this was when he was in a position of power. He was the manager of the Living Stream Ministry. So I just want to make it very clear. Nobody told me this happened. I struggled with it for decades. And the only thing that validated my struggle was that my dad, before he died, asked me about it. So I know I've talked about this before, but hearing that, quote, senior coworkers may be talking about me, I'm not surprised. They talked about Joe Castile, and I've said a lot more than Joe brought up. They've talked about John Ingalls, and I've been a lot stronger than John Ingalls. They've talked about Steve Isett. I've been a lot stronger than Steve Isett. I am a direct victim of Philip Lee, and his father around the same time kept promoting Philip to more and more authority, more and more power among the churches that are called the local churches, the Lord's Recovery, etc. And anyone who displeased Philip would get punished. We have record after record after record of that. If they returned books that they had ordered from the Living Stream Ministry because they didn't sell to the saints, these books, Philip would, in some cases, just cut off all their order and not fulfill then any of their orders, or not let them have the video training or whatever. So please come to me if you think that I'm spreading anything that is false, because that's scriptural. And I stand on the word of God. I didn't just sing that with all the children in children's meetings as both a child and then as a serving one. The Bible. Yes, that's the book for me. I stand upon the word of God, the Bible. Philip Lee is not a Noah, and Philip Lee's touching me was not being drunk in his own tent. Very different situation. So do not apply the quote sin of Ham. Only God knows. Actually, it was the sin of Noah, and then Noah cursed his grandson because of his own sin getting exposed by one of his sons. Anyway, I'm not going to interpret that, but I read that interpretation among Hebrew scholars. A dad gets drunk, is naked, his son sees it, tells his brothers. The brothers cover up their dad. And the son who saw his naked father, which I think would be traumatizing, has his son cursed. Anyway, that doesn't apply to Philip Lee touching me and Philip Lee assaulting Naomi Hunt and another sister that is repeatedly mentioned by multiple witnesses. So, I look forward to getting the footage of whatever's being said about this sister on the internet, because if it's me, I will reply as specifically as I can. But why don't you come? Why don't they come to me? Thank you.